This video is about Sigmund Freud, and this is going to be the top 4 key takeaways about his ideas. So if you're writing a paper, you really want to sound smart about Sigmund Freud, I'm going to say just focus on these 4 things, even maybe just one of these 4 things. I'm not trying to do a comprehensive analysis. I do want to say we're doing this for the upcoming analysis of film videos. Freud was one of the best thinkers that I found for analyzing film, and even neo-Freudians like Jacques Lacan. Lacan's lectures focused a lot on how to take these ideas and analyze film. So today, the 4 ideas, the 4 key takeaways from Sigmund Freud. I'm going to be discussing his atheism, his concept of the conscious versus the unconscious and the preconscious mind. I'm going to be discussing defense mechanisms, and then finally, his tripartite id, superego, ego, which is all pretty simple. If you hate him, like half the people do, hopefully this is going to give you at least some information about what you hate. Even though those haters out there don't really care about learning, that's the problem. Look at Ayn Rand. So let's get down to it. Number 4, Freud takeaway is his atheism. So he wrote a book called Future of an Illusion, and this book was about essentially why he doesn't believe in monotheism from a psychological science perspective. We used to teach Future of an Illusion. It's a small book, and it's simply written. As somebody doing psychology, I feel like he understood that he needed to present these ideas simply. So Future of an Illusion has some key points that develop Freud's clear atheism. And even though he didn't use the word atheist a lot, it was clear that his position was not ambivalent. It was not agnostic. It was clearly that the God concept is an unevolved, childlike, primitive wish fulfillment. And so in Future of an Illusion, he makes a really interesting point that I think is, again, maybe the key takeaway of the book and even of his atheism. And that is that human society, in a sense, acts like children, and they suffer from something he calls the illusion delusion effect. This isn't a quote. His point is that illusion and delusion are separate. They are almost like a gradient, one being a lot worse than the other. An illusion is when you think something is true when it's not, but it could have been true. It's a possible scenario, whereas delusion means when you fantasize you have aliens in your head, which I do every day. If you think you have aliens in your head, they can't be there. Sorry, not going to happen. It was best seen in Future of an Illusion, but in his other books, he does comment on this a little more complicated analysis, which is that the way humans evolve psychologically and grow up and become mature should contain a leaving behind of wish fulfillment. And it doesn't, and adults are religious, and Freud finds this as a stuck, regressive process. Clearly an atheist. Number 3, Freud takeaway is the conscious versus the unconscious mind. So your conscious mind is what you do on your daily basis on the surface with everyone, or even with yourself, sitting alone, talking to a camera like a moron. The simple stuff that you do on the surface is your conscious mind. It is simply stuff you're aware of. Your preconscious, which is in a sense between the two, between conscious and unconscious. And remember, Freud called it unconscious and not subconscious like we do today. No idea why. So preconscious means you're not immediately aware of it, but it's ready to be used. Your unconscious or subconscious mind is hidden from you. You have very little awareness of what's going on in that mind. So again, almost like a weird Kantian noumenal, but your subconscious mind contains desires. It contains all of this breadth of your human experience and of your psychology. So of course the id, which we're going to get to in a minute, is located in your subconscious mind. So all of these things that need to be hidden or that are naturally hidden from you, these thoughts and these ideas, are stored in your unconscious mind. And you'll understand that better when we get to 1 and 2. And all of these things are, again, interlinked. Number 2 is defense mechanisms. Defense mechanisms are things the ego uses when threatened. So if you're scared of being confronted by something, you have a coping mechanism The essence of that coping mechanism is located in your unconscious mind, and you use it almost without knowing it. Examples, top 3 defense mechanisms from Sigmund Freud. Projection, when you say someone else is doing something that you're doing. So you project onto them this behavior that you're doing that you can't face. You don't want to admit you're doing it. So you project it onto someone else and say that they're doing it when in fact you're doing it. Repression, number 2 of the 3 defense mechanisms or coping strategy. Uh, Repression is when you hide thoughts from your conscious mind in your unconscious on purpose. So you're taking them out of the conscious mind because you can't deal with them. So you're repressing it down deep. Number 3, sublimation. Sublimation is when you shift the behavior to a more acceptable behavior. An example from Freud was women riding bicycles, rubbing against the bicycle seat while they're riding in a way to sublimate sexual desire. That one's a stretch. Oh God, here comes the chupacabra. I hope you guys can see the chupacabra back there because he's attacking it right now. They're everywhere. Number 1 Freudian takeaway is his tripartite theory of mind, built of 3 sections: the id, the superego, and the ego. The id being the deeper down, hidden, dark, desire-based elements of your mind. The ego is more of what we call the self, and that is our rational thinking, normal, integrating mental personality that we use to get through our day. The superego, for a lot of an analysis of Freud, especially Jacques Lacan, is the key and the depth of this tripartite. So you have the id on one side, the hidden desires. You have the ego on the other side, the real you that gets through the day. And then in the middle, you have a superego, which is often called just judgment, what you believe people think you should be doing. I wish this dog would shut up. Bandit! He's mad at the chupacabra again. This chupacabra is going to run over here and eat me, and I'm going to have to stop the video. So one of the ways to think about the superego, and then I'm going to end it with that, is Lacan's idea that the superego is the projected self. So you have the self, which is the you getting through the day. You have the id, which is this deep, dark, unknown, desire-based part of you also. The superego is the projection of the self or of the ego onto a social construct. So in a sense, the superego becomes the you as you see other people seeing you. It is the projection not of you and your ideas, but it's your take on what your projection looks like from the perspective of the other. So the superego is the way you think other people see you and expect you to be. Not necessarily how you are, but how you think that they expect you to be. And so when you judge yourself socially, you're becoming that superego part that's doing the judging. That's Freud's psychological theory on the 3 parts of the mind: id, superego, and ego. And those are the 3 that have made their way into our language game and our academic understanding today. So I'm not going to make an overall judgment of Freud in this video. I wanted to set up those 4 things: his atheism, his distinction between conscious and unconscious mind, his theory of defense mechanisms, how we survive and justify and get through the day, and 1 is 3-part explanation for how our mind works. So I wanted to get those 4 out there, and we're going to move on to an analysis of film using Freud and Lacan and even Nietzsche.